So picture this. A gunman opens fire at the White House Correspondents Dinner, one of the biggest, most high-profile events in Washington. Today, we're going to break down President Trump's own first-hand account of what happened that night, the chaos, his clash with the media, and all the political fallout, based on a pretty explosive recent interview. And this is where all kicks off. This stark, serious announcement sets the stage for an evening that was supposed to be about celebrating journalism, but instead, it just spiraled into a massive security crisis. So let's start with the absolute chaos inside that hotel. And to make things even more tense, get this. The dinner was happening at the very same hotel where President Reagan was shot almost 45 years ago, a really chilling piece of history hanging over the whole night. So how did it all play out? First, you hear shots fired. Boom. Instantly, the Secret Service is on the move, getting the president and first lady out of there. In just 10 seconds, a counter-assault team is right there surrounding him. And just like that, the gunman is taken down. It was all incredibly fast, incredibly high stakes. Okay, so that's the big picture. But what did it actually feel like to be right in the middle of all that? Well, now we're going to turn to President Trump's personal story of the attack, just as he laid it out in his interview. According to the president, the very first sign that something was seriously wrong wasn't the noise itself. It was the look on the First Lady's face. He says she knew right away that what they heard was a gunshot, not just some waiter dropping a tray. And here you can see this really huge difference between what everyone else saw and what the president says he was feeling. The interviewer describes total chaos, but the president insisted, "I wasn't worried." It's a fascinating look at how he frames himself as a calm leader, someone who understands we live in a crazy world and isn't rattled, even when he's under fire. When he talks about the evacuation, he lays it out in these 4 distinct steps. First, he says he paused because he wanted to see what was happening. He even says he wasn't making it easy for his agents. Then, he starts to walk out, pretty tall as he put it, and he's very clear that he only hit the deck after the Secret Service explicitly told him, "Please go down." It's a story that paints a picture of a leader who doesn't panic easily. And this is where the interview takes a major turn. We shift from the action of that night to the mind of the attacker. You see, just minutes before the shooting, the gunman had emailed a manifesto to his family, and what was in that document became the new focus of the conversation. And then things got really intense. The interviewer made the call to read specific lines from that manifesto, out loud directly to the president, and that one decision completely changed the tone of everything. First up, the direct threat. The manifesto makes it crystal clear people in the Trump administration are considered targets. No question, this was a political attack. And then came this line. The interviewer read that incredibly personal and just vile accusation aimed right at the president himself. This was the moment the whole interview just ignited. So, how did the president react? Well, his response was immediate. But here's the twist. His anger wasn't aimed at the attacker. No, he turned it squarely on the person reading those words. He just fires back, "I was waiting for you to read that." He then accuses the journalist of being one of the horrible people and says they should be ashamed for giving a platform to the attacker's words. In an instant, the conversation completely shifted from the gunman's motives to the media's role. So that whole blow-up really cracked the discussion wide open, and it led to this much broader conversation about the roots of political violence and the president's very complicated relationship with the press. When the interviewer asked him about political violence, the president basically said, "Look, this stuff has been going on for centuries." But then he pointed his finger at what he sees as a specific cause today, what he calls the hate speech of the Democrats, saying it's very dangerous for the country. He also gave his take on the security and the media. He had nothing but praise for the Secret Service, called them great people. As for the attacker, he just brushed him off as incompetent. Then he went on to say the press is pretty much one and the same with the Democrats, although he did make sure to add that there are great people in the press too. So what about the event itself? Is it canceled for good? Not a chance. The president was adamant that it needed to be rescheduled and fast, within 30 days. He argued that you can't let a crazy person get the win. And yet, after all the terror of the attack and all the political division in that interview, the president's final thought about that night was actually about unity. He described this brief moment right after the shooting stopped, where he saw a room that was totally unified, and he called that spirit very beautiful. And that really leaves us with the central question, doesn't it? When a crisis like this hits the country, where does all the political fighting end and that sense of national unity begin? As the president's own account shows, that line can be almost impossible to find.